Unsung Murder Ballads is a true crime podcast, and as such, we will be discussing topics that are disturbing, graphic, and often violent in nature. So this is not for children under the age of 13.
But you know this because you did start playing this episode. So here are some things you might not know about us.
We are going to be critical of mistakes made by both criminals and law enforcement.
We're going to express our views on things that you might not always agree with.
We will occasionally go on an off-topic tangent.
And we're going to use dark humor to express ourselves now and then.
So if you're easily triggered, this might not be the podcast for you.
However, if this is your cup of tea, then raise your pinky finger while you sip and join us for this week's horrific case, you sick bastards.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Unsung Murder Ballads. This is episode 172 or 3, I'm not sure. I'm Janus Dead.
And I'm Joyous Dead.
I think we're at 173. I don't know. It's hard to keep up.
We're almost beyond counting at this point.
I know, why count?
Why? Why bother?
It's what I find funny is when I meet someone new and I mention the podcast and I'm like, yeah, I have a podcast, blah, blah. They expect it to be like 6 episodes and then they look and they're like, holy shit. And I'm like, yeah, we've been doing this for a little bit.
They don't know how serious we are about murders.
Right? And murder is a serious thing, let's be honest.
It's a very serious thing, but there's serious and then there's dedicated. And we're out here every week almost telling y'all fucked up stories.
Yeah,
so you're welcome.
Torturing ourselves and fucking with our sleep.
Exactly. As if my sleep needed more fucking with.
I say the same thing. I can't sleep past 6:30 anymore. It's really weird. I don't know if that's an old thing or what, but yeah,
that sucks. I don't have that problem yet, but I can't sleep until noon like I used to, so I can relate.
Yeah, noon would never happen. I would have to do an all-nighter. Yeah, which I'm not
I feel like
likely.
The military probably beat that out of you.
Yeah, probably. I can't remember the last time I had to do it. So yeah, I don't know. All right. So this episode this week, I do not have a teaser this week. And the funny thing is, I had there's at least 2 good moments to do a teaser, but there's such pivotal moments that I didn't want to tease them for that reason. So
we have at least 2 pivotal moments. LFG.
Yeah, this is this fucked up. Not gonna lie. So this is the case of Charlie.
Sweet.
This is the case of Charlie Brandt, and yeah, it's fucked. I don't know. There's no other way to say it. And if the audience knows, they know.
Well, all right. I definitely don't. So here we go again.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's gonna be rare that I hit you with something you'll know. Although I am working on one. I don't know if I'll do it next week or 2 weeks from now, but you're going to at least know the name of the person. I know that much.
Well, all right.
Yeah, that one probably would have been at 4 Joyouses at some time, at some point. But here we go.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2004, Charlie Brandt and his wife Terry were living in the Florida Keys. In fact, they were living in the southernmost portion of the Florida Keys. Now, Brandt had spent most of his life in Florida. He was an engineer, and for most of his career, he was allegedly in charge of the radar blimp that was used to intercept drugs being smuggled into the U.S.
How are they intercepting drugs with a blimp?
Right? I'm guessing this is...
I got some questions.
This is pre-drone days, maybe, but I'm thinking
I guess the drone was the the blimp was the OG drone.
Yeah, it was just there to surveil. It's not there to actually intercept itself. You know what I mean?
That's such a vibe. God, bring back blimps. I know they were bad.
Right.
But I think they're so cool.
I'm now imagining being a drug smuggler on a boat and a blimp is just trying to come down on me.
Literally, it's coming. The sun is blocked and you're a huge shadow and you look up and it's a blimp.
Just with guys hanging out the sides with guns on ropes. No.
Right? At that point, you're tearing open your cocaine, you're snorting it. You're like, I'm going out good, huh?
Why snort it? Just dump it in the ocean. Oh, you're right. I guess you want to take part in it. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. You can tell I don't use. I don't know. So
I don't even like it, but in that situation, that's what you do.
Right. So Brandt and his wife Terry got married in 1986, and they were together for almost 18 years. And for all appearances, it seemed to be the perfect marriage. Which, again, how many times do we say that? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, God, how many times have we heard that? Every time.
Almost every time. Exactly. So,
Although half the time it's like, maybe they weren't so happy, so we gotta give it that.
right.
Sometimes a relationship does look like shit.
Well, apparently, people reported that they would make each other's lunches every day because they believed that lunch that was made for them by someone who loved them just tasted better.
Well, that's cute. Oh.
It is cute. So again, from the outside looking in, this looks legit. Then in September of 2004, Florida was hit by Hurricane Ivan, and the people of the Keys were told they needed to evacuate. Brandt boarded up their home as any engineer might, and he left it in pristine condition.
Mm-hmm.
He figured they wouldn't be gone for that long, and he actually thought it was ridiculous that they needed to evacuate. But his family...
well, hindsight 2020.
Right? But his family and his wife insisted. So they drove the however many hours it takes to get from the Keys to Orlando to stay with Terry's niece, Michelle. Now, the first night that they were there, one of Michelle's friends, a woman named Lisa, was supposed to come over and visit. She wanted to meet Michelle's aunt Terry and her uncle Charlie. But Michelle had called Lisa and told her not to come over. They'd all been drinking. And she thought maybe they had a little too much because Brandt and Terry were arguing.
Oh, dear. Yep. Okay, good. Good she called off the friend.
Right, so the friend never went over. Now, while staying in the Orlando area, Brandt did go and visit other family members that were in the area, and they all got the impression that he really wanted to go home.
Which, fair.
Right.
No one wants to evacuate and board up their house. That really sucks.
Right. And who knows how long, and he's probably worried about damage, and, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be wrecked.
Well, they decided their original plan was to leave on the 12th. But for some reason, when that day arrived, things felt different. Despite the fact that their bags were packed, Brandt all of a sudden insisted on staying just one more night.
In Orlando, you mean?
In Orlando, yes. This is after the storm. Yes, sorry.
Gotcha.
So the next day on September 13th, Michelle's mother, Mary Lou, who normally talked to her daughter every day, couldn't reach her.
Oh, no.
All of her calls were going to voicemail. A full day passed. And I got to give this woman credit for being patient, I guess.
Yeah.
A full day passed. And she's getting more and more worried. But then a second day went by and she hadn't heard from her. So she knew something was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
She called one of Michelle's friends, a woman named Debbie. Now, Michelle and her friends had this kind of cool thing going on where they all had keys to each other's places, just in case.
Mm-hmm.
So this was the plan. Mary Lou asked Debbie if she would go check on Michelle. And she also mentioned that her sister, Michelle's aunt, Terry, was also supposed to be there because she couldn't reach her either.
Oh, no.
So Debbie grabbed the keys and she made the trip over. But on her way, before arriving, she called up the other friend, the friend Lisa, the one that was supposed to go over the first night, and asked her to go with her because she didn't feel good about this. She kind of wanted some backup.
Good instincts.
When she got there, she saw both cars sitting in the driveway. Cars being Michelle's and the Brandt's car. So she walks up and she knocks on the front door, but no one answers. So she waited for a little bit, and she's not hearing anything inside. But she sees the cars, so she starts pounding more frantically. Then she takes out the key and she puts it in the lock, but it wouldn't open.
Oh.
Yeah, she couldn't get in. She's like freaking out now.
Yeah, what the hell?
So she decides to walk around the house. And she's looking in windows and she's knocking on windows and she's calling Michelle's name. And as she's going around, she notices through the glass door of the garage, because now she can see directly through. This is the first time she can see something through. She sees Michelle's Uncle Charlie hanging from the roof of the garage with a bedsheet around his neck.
Oh.
She immediately calls the police. Now, when
Yeah.
Yep. So when the police arrived, they actually managed to use one of Debbie's keys to open the front door of the house.
It's happened to me before that I had the key to a door and still couldn't get it open.
Well, it turns out she was using the wrong key. It is one of those ones that still fits the lock but won't turn it. She was using the wrong one.
Yep.
Right. This poor thing. But as it turns out, that mistake saved her from being completely traumatized by the scene inside that house that was far worse.
That
was far worse than what she already saw.
Oh, Lord.
So upon entering, police found Terry slumped over the couch with 7 chest wounds from stabbings.
Oh.
Then they made their way further back into Michelle's master bedroom. And what they found was so much worse than anyone anticipated.
Oh.
Apparently, it was so bad that it's reported that officers ran out of the house to vomit.
Holy shit.
Michelle's body was found on her bed. And while it was determined that her cause of death was from a single fatal stab wound to her chest, she had also been decapitated. Her head was placed next to her body in such a way that it looked like her head was made to watch the other depraved acts that were about to be perpetrated against her.
Oh my fucking God.
Her killer had cut off her breast, and he had cut her body completely open.
Oh.
Her organs, including her heart, had been removed and placed around her body, and her intestines were thrown in the trash.
What the fuck depraved ass cult shit is this?
Throughout the rest of the room were her underwear, scattered about everywhere, most of them being bras from Victoria's Secret, which put in your back pocket on that one.
Okay.
Now, when police and investigators went back outside to talk to Debbie and Lisa, they were kind of like, all right, we need a description of Michelle. And once they confirmed that that body was Michelle, they told the 2 women that their friend had been murdered.
Oh.
Now, it was her friends that had to call Michelle's father to inform him. And whichever one of them was on the phone just cried and kept repeating over and over again, Michelle's dead, she's dead, she's dead.
Oh.
Fucking crazy.
Oh, that's so unbearable.
So the police were real quick to develop a theory. And this theory was that it was a murder-suicide perpetrated by Charlie Brandt. But this didn't make any sense to his family, because to them, Brandt, he was just a normal guy.
Right.
He and Terry had been married for almost 2 decades. Everyone saw them as the perfect couple. He was smart, he had a good job, and he had spent time with Michelle many times in the past with no apparent red flags.
Yeah, it is really fucking bizarre.
Well, police came to this conclusion because of the manner of death, believing it was obvious that Brandt had killed Michelle and Terry and then killed himself.
It's certainly what it looks like by like the way that each of them died.
Right, but to them, obviously, the motive here is a complete mystery. Even when they went and looked up, even when they went up and looked up Charlie Brandt's criminal records, he was completely clean. He had no arrest. His fingerprints were not in the system at all. However, it would be Brandt's sister Angela who would reveal what was hidden in Brandt's criminal history.
Oh, shit.
When police spoke with her before they even started asking her questions, she stopped them and said, "I have something to tell you."
Whoa.
Angela told police that Brandt had murdered before.
What the fuck?
Is
it a juvenile?
She told them that his records were sealed because he was only 13 years old when he murdered their mother.
What the fuck?
Angela then went and told them a horrific story. In 1971, Angela was 15 and Charlie Brandt was 13. And they also had 2 younger sisters as well. And we're talking like real young, like 2 or 3.
Oh, God.
They were living in Fort Wayne, Indiana, with their parents, and their mother was 8 months pregnant. As we've already said, which is often the case from the outside looking in, the Brandts looked like a normal family. Brandt was a normal boy, and he did well in school. However, on January 3rd, 1971, the Brandts were spending the night watching TV together, and at one point it was time to go to bed. Angela got up, she went into her room and started reading a book. The younger girls were already asleep, and Mom and Dad went into the bathroom to get ready for bed. Brandt's mother made herself a bath, while his dad was at the bathroom sink shaving. Out of the corner of his father's eye, he spotted Charlie Brandt coming into the bathroom. The next word out of their father's mouth was, "Charlie, no, Charlie, stop." 13-year-old Charlie raised a gun and fired it once into his father's torso. He then went to the bathtub, stood over his pregnant mother, and shot her 5 fucking times.
Oh my fucking God.
Angela heard the shots from her room and got up to go investigate. But before she even stepped out of her bedroom, there was Charlie Brandt standing in her doorway.
Horrifying.
She saw that he was holding something in his hand, but in this moment, she still hadn't quite pieced together what was going on yet. And he suddenly just pointed the gun right at her and pulled the trigger. And Angela heard the click. The gun...
Right, but he just shot 6 shots, and it wasn't a revolver?
It's unclear. But the gun didn't fire, and the next thing she remembers is that her and her brother Charlie are suddenly wrestling one another on the floor, and she was able to kick the gun away from him. And as they're fighting, she kept saying to him, "Charlie, I love you. What are you doing? I love you." Then all of a sudden, she says she was looking him right in the eyes, and she watched as this glazed, crazy look just disappeared. He had snapped out of whatever the fuck he was in, and he literally asked her, "What did I do?"
What the fucking hell?
And she said, "I don't know. I think you shot our parents, but I need to go check." He kept asking what they were going to do, and she kept saying she didn't know. And all she really knew was that she had to remain calm.
Yeah, because otherwise she and the other kids are in danger.
And that's just it. She started thinking on her feet, making him think that she was on his side. But in her mind, she knew she had to do something to take care of her sisters. So she started to walk down the stairs, and all the while telling Charlie Brandt that they should leave, but they needed to bring their sisters with them. And she said, "Hey, go upstairs and grab some blankets, because, it's fucking winter outside. It's January.
Mm-hmm.
And so that they can get the girls bundled up." And he's walking up the stairs backwards, looking at her the whole time. And he's asking her, "Angie, you're not going to leave me, are you?" And the whole time she's like, no, I'm not, just waiting for him to get far enough away.
Mm-hmm.
And once he was at the top of the staircase, she bolted out the front door. She ran through the snow. Her nightgown is covered in blood. She's barefoot, and she's screaming for anyone to save her and her family from her brother.
Oh.
She ran to one of the neighbors' houses, and she pounded on the door. But before anyone came to the door, she looked over her shoulder, and there was her brother coming up behind her. She could hear him yelling, "Angie, you promised me. You promised you wouldn't leave me." She would later say that those words would constantly be in the back of her mind for the rest of her life.
Oh.
Angela
That's horrific.
It's fucked up. It is so fucked up. This was one of those moments, like I said, I was going to use this as the teaser, but it was too big of a moment.
Yeah.
So she ran to another neighbor's house. But by that point, Charlie Brandt had made his way to the door of the first house. And the door opened. And there was a young girl on the other side of the door.
Oh, no.
And he stood there in the cold and calmly just said, "I shot my parents." And then the police and the paramedics were called to the scene. At this point, he's shut down. So Brandt's father survived, but his mother and her unborn child didn't have a chance.
5 times is a lot. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so awful.
Both she and the unborn baby died in the tub that January night. Over the years, after killing his mother, Brandt underwent 3 separate psychological evaluations. Each time, the professional that was talking with him was looking for some underlying signs of a specific mental illness that could explain away his behavior. But each of them ended up reporting that he seemed like a normal kid, just snapped for no apparent reason.
Right. It's like, that can't be.
Unfortunately, under Indiana law, he was too young to be charged with murder, so instead he was sent to a psychiatric hospital. After a year in the hospital, it was his father that fought to get him released.
Whoa.
Right? It's so fucked.
Hell of a father.
I couldn't forgive him. Fuck that. No way.
Oh.
You can't trust him around anybody.
No, but I just can't even imagine the anguish as a husband and a parent.
Yeah. And had that gun not been empty, he would have killed his sister Angela.
Yep.
So, yeah. But when Charlie Brandt was finally released, it was his father that met him, and he moved the entire family to Florida.
He moved him back in with the family?
Yes. And as it goes, Fort Wayne isn't that small of a town, but I have very little doubt that everyone there knew what happened.
Yeah.
So if Brandt was going to have a chance of growing up normal, they knew they needed to get him out of there. So off they went to Florida. However, within a year, his father remarried, and soon after, he took up the entire family again and left and went back to Indiana, but left Charlie Brandt behind with his grandparents. Really fucking weird. Now,
yeah, I don't love it.
At this point, Angela's got to be like 16, 17, who knows? So I'm sure she had a lot of input on like, hey, I want to get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean?
And also, like, if you are marrying a man and you know that his son killed his previous wife,
right?
you sure aren't gonna move in with the child.
You would hope not, no.
I sure fucking wouldn't.
Interestingly, though, and this is a side note, the 2 younger sisters, they were not told the truth about how their mother died.
Whoa.
They went their entire lives until 2004 having no idea that it was their brother who had killed their mother.
That feels like an injustice to them.
It's fucked up. I mean, I understand trying to keep them safe, but...
Right, but eventually once they're old enough to know...
Right, 71 to 2004 is not a short amount of time.
No, not at all.
Like, once they were like 12, 15 maybe, but you waited until they were in their 30s. Crazy.
Like, they weren't really waiting. They were just deciding we're never going to tell them.
Yeah, we're never going to tell them. Right. Technically putting them in danger. Kind of.
Right, and also just like not knowing the truth about your parent dying is really fucked up.
Yeah, that would fuck me up, yeah. Now, the family wanted Brandt to live a normal life in Florida, and it seemed like that's what was happening. You know, that is until 2004, when police are suddenly investigating 3 bodies at a brutal crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
But with Angela telling them of the past, police now had the history, but they still had no real motive. And this story that Angela told them showed them that there was some kind of darkness that existed in Charlie Brandt.
Right, and that he had like snapped at one point with no explanation.
Well, they didn't think that he had actually been suppressing his evil for 33 years. The crime in 2004 was a little too perfect for their liking.
Like it didn't seem like someone just like snapping and doing something crazy.
Right, it was too neat. And she was killed and mutilated. Michelle, in particular, was killed and mutilated in such a way, with such precision, that the police were like, how many victims does Charlie Brandt really have out there?
Extremely fair point.
And the more they looked into his life, especially from his teens into his 40s, the more they started to hear these little disturbing stories.
Yikes.
Now, it's important to note here that no one person had all the facts. But when they talked to different people, they got little pieces of a puzzle, and it started to kind of paint this disturbing picture. His sister Angela had told the police about everything that they went through and how the family tried to forgive him, and they really did love him. But there was always this instinctual part of her in particular that was afraid of him, which makes sense.
Yeah, and also, like, man, I feel like no blame on anyone, but I would have a hard time letting my murderous sibling marry someone without them knowing.
Right. We'll get into that in a little bit.
But I don't know if they were like, right, I don't know if they're actively involved in each other's lives at all.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit. But Angela did say that she would never go down to visit him in the Keys. And whenever he came up to visit, she would sleep with her door locked and barricaded. And she did not want her kids around him.
Valid. And also, like, why the fuck is she having to sleep in the same house as him? I don't like that.
Well, again, it's when the family's all together and they've traveled and whatever. But you'd think that they'd be like, Charlie, you need to stay at a hotel.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
like, he should be in the room that's locked with barricaded from the outside.
And with their luck, a fire would break out. Yeah. But either way, I agree with you.
Right?
Well, Brandt's co-workers talked about how Brandt would talk about his niece, Michelle, at work sometimes. When he talked about her, he didn't call her by her name. He didn't say Michelle. He was using a nickname that he gave her. And this nickname was Victoria's Secret.
Oh, that is fucking weird and gross, and I hate it.
Yeah. And I didn't have to... My next line was, obviously, this is the same brand of underwear that was thrown all around her room the night she was murdered, because you piece that together, because it's pretty obvious.
Right.
But people at his work said that he would talk about Michelle in such a way that it was clear he was obsessed with her.
Ew.
He talked about the men she dated and how none of them were good enough for her.
God. If a man's talking about this shit at work, I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Right? Like, dude, this is your niche. Shut up.
I don't want to hear it, you weird fuck.
Right. It's fucked up.
Personally, I'm an engineer also. And if someone was talking about that at work, I'd be like, reporting them to HR.
Right?
I do not want to hear about how you want to fuck your niece.
Right? Well, they found things in the Brandt's home that were odd, to say the least. They found anatomy books throughout the house, even though neither Brandt nor Terry worked in the medical field. On the back of their bedroom door, there was a full poster of the anatomy of a woman, like something you'd see in a college classroom.
Huh.
It was, and I've seen an image of it. It's weird. It's like the front and back of the woman, but like the woman is kind of bisected, where one half shows the skeletal system and the other half shows the muscular system.
Yep, I've seen stuff like that before. Yep.
And what makes this one creepy is that, like, they kept, like, the woman's head is intact, but she's not, like, in one of them, she's not facing the viewer. So, like, she shows a full head of hair that's done up in a bun, which in my opinion made the image really creepy. I don't know.
Huh.
It was weird.
I mean, they're all creepy. I mean, like any sort of like medical drawings type stuff. And I also say that's a really weird thing to have up in your house. And I work in a healthcare related field and have a very deep interest in the human body. I don't have anything like that in my house.
And not just that, it's on the back of the bedroom door, which means when you're sleeping at night, that's what you're looking at. And why did Terry let him have that up?
I mean, everyone's got a weird boyfriend who has a weird poster.
I suppose. And maybe she was picking and choosing her battles.
That is exactly it. Like, it's like she is fighting to not have the like poster of a woman with big boobs on the wall. I'll allow the medical poster.
You know what? I guess it's still weird to me. Just saying.
Oh, it's weird, but you've been to a man's house before. They have some weird art choices.
Yeah, my walls are covered in my autographed paraphernalia, so I get it. Yep.
Yeah, that's a red flag too, friend.
Is it really? Why? I don't get it.
Well, not for murder, but just for weird.
Okay, fair. I guess in a way they're kind of like trophies. Yeah, I can see it.
Well, I mean specifically the pornography related ones.
There's only 4 of those, and they're
Only 4.
only 4. Anyway, even creepier was his internet search history, which you can imagine, right?
I was about to say, we had Google, right? Check the search history.
These searches involved searches for autopsy photos, snuff films, and necrophilia sites.
Hate it.
So another person in his life that saw glimpses of the darkness that was Brandt was his best friend. And his name was Jim. And Jim had initially been married to Angela, Brandt's sister, at one time. And that's how the two met.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how the two met, and they had become friends. Now, Jim is one of the few people who actually knew about Charlie Brandt's past because Angela told them before they got married. Kind of like what you were saying earlier. She thought, if we're going to spend our lives together, you need to know this.
Yep.
So fast forward to some years later, and Angela ends up ending their marriage. Like, she's leaving Jim. And Jim decides he's going to crash at his best friend's place, Charlie down in the Keys.
Ugh.
So they're living together, and they become those best buds as they do. And they start drinking and smoking and going out to fish and all that shit that guys do, I guess.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
So a few days into Jim's stay, they're out on a fishing boat, and Jim's just mad at the world. He's mad at Angela, and he's venting. And he's talking about how he just wants to get revenge. And Charlie Brandt...
in front of the man who killed her mother.
And Charlie Brandt just looks over at him and says, quote, "You know what the perfect revenge is, Jim? You kill somebody, and then you cut their heart out, and you eat it," unquote.
Hey, buddy.
Yep. Now, remember, Jim knows about Brandt's past.
Yep.
Yeah, now he's never really talked to him about it, but he's aware. And he's figuring, this is what he says later, he's figuring at this point that he hadn't done anything wrong in so long that he's thinking that maybe the guy's just talking shit, and he shrugs it off. Which, I gotta say, if one of my friends said something like that, I wouldn't call the cops. Like, I say crazy shit.
If one of my friends said that, sure, but if one of my friends had murdered someone before,
right?
Then that calculus goes a little differently.
Right. Now, years later, Jim hears another story straight from Terry, Brandt's wife. Now, Jim and Terry were friends, and that's how Brandt met Terry. So that's important to know. According to Jim, Terry had pulled him aside one day and said that she was thinking of calling the police on Brandt. She said that she had come home early from work one day and that Brandt was in their fish gutting room, which was like a small utility room off their house, and that she had opened the door and there was Brandt covered in blood, and there was blood all over the sink.
Oh.
Now, Jim, he tried to calm Terry down. He's like, hey, that's what that room's for. He's cleaning fish. There's supposed to be blood there.
Right.
And she's like, I know that, but there were no fish anywhere.
Ooh.
And he just kept making excuses for his best friend, but Terry cuts him off. She says, like, no, listen to me. And this is what she tells him. She said there was a girl that was murdered not too far from where they lived. They had found her murdered body in a rowboat, and she was worried that it was Charlie who might have done it.
Oh, my God.
And she literally asked Jim, she's like, what should I do? Now, he warned her that if she called the police, it would be the end of their marriage. And that's why she didn't call the police.
Oof.
Yeah. Now, as I mentioned, this is how Brandt met Terry. It was through Jim. So when Brandt told Jim that he wanted to propose to Terry, Jim told Brandt, you need to tell her about your past. Plain and simple. And
right.
Brandt was like, I don't want to, whatever. But Jim's like, no. If you don't tell her, I'm going to tell her.
Right.
So Brandt says, okay, I'll tell her. But then, boom, surprise wedding. None of his family gets an invite. And soon they're married. And Jim assumed his friend told Terry, and he never brought it up again.
Oh.
Yeah. So interestingly, though, he does back this up because he said that at one point he was talking to them and he asked Terry if they were considering having kids. And she supposedly said to him, "I'm not sure, considering everything." And he let it go at that, thinking that she must have known.
Oh, shit.
Now, her family swears up and down that she could not have known, that she couldn't have kept a secret like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when she had seen something suspicious like that and like, if she
Freaked
had seen
out.
that and knew that he had murdered someone before, yeah, no.
Right? She would have called the cops.
He would have 100% called the cops.
Investigators did find a journal that was Terry's in the house, and it showed some alarming things. Now, this isn't the kind of journal you're thinking where she's writing about her life or whatever. It was more like a planner, and she did jot down like random significant notes, like things like, "had a nice dinner with Charlie," or "Charlie went out fishing," like that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them had weird, simple remarks that just said, "weird day." But a few were more like, "Charlie stayed out all night," or "Charlie got home at 3 a.m. But unfortunately, there's no more details than that. And not one person in Brandt's life seemed to have the entirety of who he was.
That's pretty scary.
It's crazy. So after he took the life of his niece and his wife, he then took his own life in 2004, and police opened up this large-scale investigation. They were sure that he had done this before, and after digging, they reported to some media outlets that they were looking at a possible 26 victims.
Whoa.
With similar MOs where the victims had been decapitated and or had organs removed. Yeah.
That's fucking nuts. And like they have the journal that says like, "Oh, he was out till 3 a.m. last night."
Exactly. Now,
to connect those things,
they make the argument that typically killers don't just jump straight to beheadings their first go round. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's a little intense.
Yeah, it that kind of thing takes practice. You got to build up to that, I would assume. Right?
I mean, in a lot of cases we've talked about, that's exactly how it works. They start simple and they get crazier and crazier.
Right. And this is extreme.
Yes.
So the investigators got together and they tried to link other crimes to Brandt. Now, no official list has been created, so I don't conclusively have anything to just read off. But there are 2 victims that have conclusively been linked to him. One of them was believed to have been a woman named Sherry Pariso in 1989. Sherry was found decapitated and her heart had been removed. This is actually the one that was found in a rowboat beneath a bridge near their house, the one that Terry had been so freaked out about.
Oh shit, and she was fucking right.
All they had at the time, police, all they had was a sketch of a man seen running across U.S. Route 1 near where the body was discovered, and that sketch looked a lot like Charlie Brandt.
Oof.
And whoever did it had literally used the boat as sort of like a cutting table. It's so fucked up.
Yeah, that's really fucked up.
Another case that the police are confident were him, that's linked to him, is a 1995 murder of a woman named Darlene Toller in Miami. She was found wrapped in a blanket and then in a tarp off the highway. And when her body was discovered, they unrolled the body and found that her head and her heart were missing.
Oh.
Some people
sounds like him, all right.
Absolutely. And some people were speculating that he ate the hearts because of what he told Jim, but that can't be confirmed. And he didn't eat the heart of Michelle.
No way to know.
Yeah, he didn't eat Michelle's heart, but at that point, I don't know if he would. I mean, he was planning to kill himself, so who the fuck knows? The whole thing's so fucked.
Right.
Law enforcement were confident enough to connect him to those specific cases, but in particular Darlene, because of what they found in his vehicle.
Oof.
Now, Darlene's body was found to have dog hairs similar to dog hairs that were found in Brandt's car. Now,
whose fucking dog is this?
Well, that's the weird part. So Brandt and Terry didn't have a dog. They had a cat. But it's believed that Brandt had helped out a friend at some point in time, around that time, bringing her dog to the vet. And eventually DNA testing was done that confirmed that there was the only way for her to have had this dog's hair on her was if she was somehow in his vehicle.
Right.
Yeah, so they were able
to...
That's
dog hair being the confirming one. You don't hear that often.
Right. Now, interestingly, Brandt also kept meticulous, travel logs, mile logs of his when he traveled. And on the day that Darlene went missing, he had an extra 100-mile trip that couldn't be explained, which was about the distance exactly. Now,
Yerp.
Now, a weird side note about this friend with the dog, she actually talked to police. And she said that, she got real creeped out by Brandt about 12 years before the murders happened. Now, keep in mind, he's married to Terry at this point. And he wrote this friend a 3-page love letter professing his love to her.
Ugh.
And
don't do that.
And she had to pull him aside and was like, listen, it's not going to happen. I love you like a brother. I love Terry like a sister. Nothing is going to happen between us. But she said that after that, she didn't see him again. But for a really long time, she was having nightmares of him chasing her and trying to kill her.
Ooh.
So fucking weird.
Woman's intuition, I tell ya.
There was also a book that was written about Charlie Brandt. And it was called The Invisible Killer, The Monster Behind the Mask. In this book, the author theorized that Brandt was also responsible for 2 other murders. Now, again, I got to be clear here. This is not actually connected to him by law enforcement. This is just something that this author seems to think, and he does have some interesting theories backing it up. But one of the families was actually annoyed that their family member was lumped in with his victims. So that's
very fair. It says you don't want to have your family member's name dragged through publicity if it's just some guy.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just it. How many times, there are certain people out there when you talk about a case, they were wrongfully investigated, and then when we cover it, I spend time talking about them only to say, but they didn't do it. So they're still like you said, lumped in. Yeah. But regardless, we're going to touch on these two murders. The first one was Carol Sullivan, and she went missing in 1978. She was 12, about to turn 13. And the crazy part is this was the first day that she talked her family into letting her walk to the school bus on her own.
Oh, fuck.
She went missing, and later her skull would be found in a paint can, which is fucking weird.
Oh.
And of course,
so he's already on the skull shit.
Really, theoretically. And that's why they connect this. They're trying to connect this to Brandt because of the decapitation. And because he did live in the area that she went missing at the time that she went missing. Tough to say, but possible. The other victim that was linked to him was a woman named Lisa Saunders, who was 20 in 1988. This Lisa was found nude and lifeless on the side of the road in some bushes in an area named No Name Key. Vultures were actually what alerted authorities to her body.
Oh, that's gross and awful.
When found, she was missing her heart, her brain, her eyes, a lot of her neck muscles, her appendix, her colon, her vagina, her left fallopian tube, her ovaries, her bladder, her thyroid gland, and parts of her lung.
And how much of that is because of the vultures?
Interesting that you say that. Is literally my next line, because pathologists couldn't determine if they were missing because of the vultures or because someone took them.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, but she had marks on her body indicating that her killer tied her to the back of a car and dragged her for about a half a mile.
Oh my God.
before dumping her body. What?
That's fucking evil.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Oh.
So while that might not fit his MO entirely, it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
So again, at this point, Charlie Brandt died in 2004, but people are still looking into other possible victims. And unfortunately, not much else has been released about that list of 26 deaths that they believe may be connected to him. And we may never know.
Yeah, it's tough to know when he's already dead.
Yeah, it really sucks that he went out that way, because it would have been interesting to hear what he actually had to say. But that is the case of Charlie Brandt.
Fuck that fucking guy.
Yeah, this is a brutal case. I told you, it was fucking awful.
Something weird about the way juvenile cases are sealed like that.
You know, I don't think they would be today. I really don't. 1971 was a different time.
But this was still like, this was serial killer era when people were freaking out about this shit and like satanic panic, right?
It's a little early for it. 1970. So like, for example, Bundy doesn't start till 74. Gacy doesn't get caught for a few more years. So it was right at the beginning. So one kid going nuts and killing his family doesn't send up quite the same number of red flags. Not back then. So
that makes sense. Yeah, I guess that is early.
But my thing is, was he just obsessed with the niece, Michelle? Or do you think maybe he had abused her at some point? I don't know. Because it's really weird that he, like, I want to know what happened in those couple days.
Yeah, and it's weird because it's like, I guess we don't know about the other potential victims if he had any sort of relationship with them, because people we know he killed were family.
Right.
And the other people seem to be random people, but
who knows? But my thing is, like,
right,
what happened in that house? So the first night they were drinking and arguing, and Michelle tells her friend not to come over.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are a couple days pass where he visits family, and then instead of leaving, he kills them both. I want to know what happened. And obviously we're never going to know.
We'll never know.
But it's crazy to think.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm glad I've never been so obsessed with anybody that I wanted to do that kind of shit.
No, it's also a weird kind of obsessed that you would want to kill somebody.
Well, that too, but like, and I guess if you were that obsessed with someone, why would you go and stay with that person with your wife?
Well, I mean, people are fucking dumb.
You're right, and he's a psychopath, so yeah, who knows, but...
Right, we don't know that this woman, like, we don't know that she was comfortable being around him alone.
That's true, too. It's just so fucked. I don't know. This case bothers me, and that's why I wanted to cover it.
Yeah, it's really fucked up.
Yeah, so I guess if you don't feel comfortable with a family member, or anybody for that matter, you do not have to be alone with them. That's our message to the world.
Amen to that.
Fuck that. It's okay to be rude if you're uncomfortable.
Absolutely. Cut people the fuck off if that's what you gotta do.
If that's what you gotta do.
Firm believer in that.
Agreed. 100%. But on that
note...
Don't let them
anywhere near you.
And on that note, thank you everybody for joining us again. Once again, I'm Janus Dead.
And I'm Joyous Dead.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye!